This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT. Good to have you with us. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain. It's Wednesday, finally, May 18th. We're almost there, guys.
Plowing through this week, aren't we? Now 6:30, a narrow victory, but a win nonetheless for Hillary Clinton here in Kentucky. She is now a step closer to clinching her party's presidential nomination after the results are in the Commonwealth.
Why Lexington firefighters say they will have to get used to fighting fires like this one you're seeing that destroyed one home and damaged several others.
A frightening scene there, and a preview of the Preakness, where the Kentucky Derby winner is looking to win the second leg of the Triple Crown.
Yes, we have rain out in the forecast again for today, but it is moving out. So we're going to be pushing that on out of here in the next few hours. Still a wet go at it this morning. Wet roadways, guys. We're in the upper 40s, lower 50s. Then we hit the afternoon. Afternoon's much drier, much better feeling. Upper 60s to around 70 degrees. We'll get into that forecast. I'll show you dry days, and I'll show you some more wet days coming up.
And here's the latest news. The votes were counted into the night, and it was a very close race. Kentucky Democrats are split on who they think would be the best presidential candidate to defeat Republican Donald Trump.
Hillary Clinton won Kentucky's primary, but just barely. The margin is less than 2,000 votes, and this comes after both candidates spent a lot of time in Kentucky. WKYT's Mark Barber is at our live desk this morning to break down the numbers in this tight race. Mark?
Good morning, Michelle. This race was extraordinarily close. More than 450,000 people voted, and Clinton only won by half of 1%, making this one of the closest primaries in this presidential election. To give you some perspective on just how tight the race was, let's take a closer look at the numbers. Clinton grabbed more than 212,000 votes in her razor-thin win. Sanders was just 2,000 votes behind her. Clinton did well in southern Kentucky and in urban areas like Lexington and Louisville. Sanders was the overwhelming favorite in coal country. While the Associated Press said the race was too close to call last night, Clinton claimed victory on Twitter, saying, quote, "We just won Kentucky, thanks to everyone who turned out. We're always stronger united." Sanders did not waste any time pointing out that this should have been a much easier win for the former First Lady.
Where Secretary Clinton defeated Barack Obama by 250,000 votes in 2008, it appears tonight that we're going to end up with about half of the delegates from Kentucky.
While Clinton can claim a narrow victory, she still has to share the state's 55 delegates with Sanders because the race was so close. The Commonwealth's 5 superdelegates will vote for whoever they want at the Democratic National Convention in Philadelphia in July. From the live desk, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And the estimate this morning is that Hillary Clinton is now about 93 delegates short of clinching the Democratic presidential nomination. No surprises in the U.S. Senate race in Kentucky. Incumbent Republican Senator Rand Paul easily won the GOP primary. And on the Democratic side, Lexington Mayor Jim Gray had no trouble in a field of 7 candidates. Gray quickly turned his attention to the November election. And so did his opponent, who spoke confidently by saying he plans to run on his record.
I've tried very hard to represent Kentucky by saying, you know what, we need a smaller government, we need to leave more money in Kentucky.
Paul has turned his back on us, forgotten who he works for and who elected him.
Both candidates emphasized the need to put Kentucky first in Washington.
Some of Kentucky's congressional seats were also on the primary ballot in the 6th district, which includes Lexington and much of central Kentucky. Incumbent Republican Andy Barr easily won his primary. In November, he will face Democrat Nancy Jo Kemper, a Woodford County reverend and a lobbyist on social justice issues. In the 1st congressional district, which covers parts of western and central Kentucky, James Comer won the Republican primary. That field included Mike Pape, who ran some controversial ads about immigration. Comer will face Democrat Sam Gaskins in November. In the 5th district, Republican Congressman Hal Rogers has clinched a 19th term in office. He easily won the GOP primary, and he does not have a Democratic challenger in November.
He is already Kentucky's longest-serving congressman. Well, there were a few upsets in Kentucky's primary. Longtime state lawmakers Tom Reiner and Ron Krim were unseated by primary election challengers as Democrats and Republicans set their slates for the next round of their fight for control of the Kentucky House. Both defeated House members are from Louisville. And you can find complete election results at WKYT.com or by downloading the WKYT News app. The rain is hanging around this morning. Imagine that, huh? But
I feel like we've said that every day for the last couple of weeks.
Hopefully for not much longer.
Yeah, that's right. Here's meteorologist Micah Harris. He's here to help you plan your day. Micah.
Yeah, what to wear today? That is the question, because later on this afternoon is mainly dry, and we're talking mid to upper 60s, so a really good feel later on today. But this morning is still pretty chilly with those upper 40s, lower 50s, with the rain falling across the region. Now the rain approaching that 421 corridor. If you work your way down toward Clay County and Manchester, you're about to get a pretty good clip of a downpour here and there. Leslie County, you're next in line, and then you can see, obviously, that line of showers as you stretch across the Bluegrass Parkway and also I-64 all the way into the eastern zones. Better afternoon, though, 68. I'm going to show you when you expect this to actually become dry and also how long we're going to stay with that dry weather. I'll have that coming up in a few minutes.
Hopefully a long time, right? So hours after a huge fire destroyed a Lexington home, firefighters are still on the scene this morning. That fire was so big, it spread to 4 other homes on Stansbury Cove near Jacobson Park. It was the kind of fire that firefighters are getting used to. WKYT's Caitlin Sinner is there live to explain what they mean. Caitlin?
Good morning, Michelle. Firefighters are actually still on scene. They've been getting up, walking around, and I'll give you a look at this home here. They've been walking around the home, keeping an eye on it, walking up on that front porch area. Firefighters say it only took them about 45 minutes to get the fire under control yesterday afternoon. But crews are still here working to figure out what caused it. Firefighters and neighbors called the scene chaotic. Smoke could be seen for miles. Officer Don flew over the scene, getting video from Sky First. Now, just after firefighters got into the home to fight the fire, the roof began to collapse, so they quickly had to pull out and contain it from the outside. Lexington firefighters on scene said the fire on Stansbury Cove near Hayes Boulevard spread quickly because the homes are built so closely together. On one side, the nearest home is 10 feet away, and on the other side, it's 7 feet away.
We're going to see more and more of this as time goes. They're just built too close together. The vinyl siding does nothing to prevent heat from catching another home on fire. It's just going to be, it's the way our future looks right now.
Firefighters are still here working to figure out what led up to the fire. As soon as we have that new information, we'll bring it to you. Live in Lexington, Caitlin Settner, WKYT.
Thank you, Caitlin. New on WKYT this morning, police are investigating after a Lexington apartment was hit by gunfire. It happened at the Red Mile Village apartment complex, which is not far from UK's campus. Police aren't sure who shot at the building, saying witnesses they spoke to were not cooperating. We're told nobody was injured.
Happening today, one of 3 men accused of robbing a Lexington bank will be facing a judge. Rameese Woods is charged with robbery, and he'll be arraigned today. Police say he and 2 other men robbed City National Bank last week, and they're still looking for the other 2 suspects. If you use a certain Lexington gas station, your credit card information may have been stolen. Police say a maintenance technician has found skimmers at the Marathon on West Main Street. No arrests have been made. Police say they have told banks and credit unions around the city to expect calls from customers reporting fraudulent activity.
University of Kentucky police have issued a crime bulletin after a series of moped thefts on campus. In the last month, police say 9 scooters have been stolen. They say suspect descriptions have been different for each theft. Police have not made any arrests.
The Kentucky Attorney General says Governor Matt Bevin should not have been allowed to remove a trustee from the Kentucky Retirement Systems Board before the trustee's term had expired. Governor Bevin removed Board Chairman Thomas Elliott last month, even though his term doesn't expire for 3 years. In an opinion that's been released, Attorney General Andy Beshear also said Elliott's replacement isn't as qualified. The governor's office says the Attorney General's opinion, though, is different from a state Supreme Court precedent. Well, the second leg of the Triple Crown is this Saturday, and Nyquist is looking good.
The Kentucky winner and the runner-up Exaggerator have both been getting used to the Pimlico track. Exaggerator has gone up against Nyquist 4 times and has lost 4 times. Gun Runner, the 3rd-place finisher in the Derby, will not run in the Preakness. His trainer says Gun Runner is in great shape, but he's electing to skip the race.
All right, so
should be a good one.
A lot of eyes on Nyquist, and we'll see how he does coming up. Our time this morning is 6:40, 20 before 7 now on WKYT.
Let's check to see how traffic is moving along this morning.
Here's Officer Don with that check on live drive traffic. Good morning, Don.
Good morning. Couple of things on the inner loop of Man O' War near Helmsdale. There's a two-car non-injury crash, should be blocking the right lane, and now inbound Richmond Road's backing up in the left turn lane of the inner loop of the circle. Stalled car got us off to a bad start there. As you get a look outside at Lexington traffic flow, we're okay right now, even through the Todd's Road widening project. As far as drive times go right now, with traffic being light, we're okay coming in from Scott County on 75, no problems from Georgetown, and 75 across the Clays Ferry Bridge. Things look pretty normal, about 32 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, hopefully it's a good ride-in for everybody today. Make the best of your Wednesday, and we have a lot more news coming up for you on WKYT this morning.
It's pandemonium at a Chinese zoo. Why this zookeeper isn't getting much cleaning done. We'll have this story after the break.
Oh, wow.
Two troublemakers right there. We actually have two in the studio over there. Here comes the sun. It's not going to be bright today, but tomorrow looks fantastic. I'm going to show you how long we're going to stay with this dry weather coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Does it ever stop? I think that's the question all of us have been asking the past, couple of weeks, few weeks? I mean, it's just one shower, one thunderstorm after another is what we've had the past month, month and a half. But I will tell you this, we will get another small break, at least it's a break though, as you're looking across the region later on today. Tomorrow looks pretty good, but we're still talking about some rain early this morning. The bulk of the rain is now situated south of Lexington. You can still expect a couple of blips here and there passing by on the northern extent of this line. Also some showers down toward Howard Rogers Parkway and 421 now moving through. It's a wet go at it far southern half. But really that line of showers will continue to fade. We'll see that fade as we go through the next few hours. I'd say right around noontime is when you see most of it fade. But if you're in the south-southeast, going to London, Corbin, maybe Jackson, I'd say it's still a little bit farther south than that. But those areas down toward the mountainous regions, it's going to be more like your noon to about 2 p.m. For the most part, most of us are done before noontime. Frankfort, there's 51 degrees. If you're heading out to the education days with the kiddos, there's going to be thousands of kids there at Lexington Legends at Whitaker Bank Ballpark. Just know you can have some mist, a couple of drizzle spots here and there. For the most part, the rain should be south of you guys by that time. That's 10 a.m. And then many events going on toward the weekend. We're trying to clear some things on out. It's mainly dry later on this afternoon at 68 degrees. When do you plan to reschedule ball games, Little League ball games? When do you plan to mow your grass? Later on this afternoon, it's going to be hard pressed to do because I'll tell you why. Because you're not going to have a lot of time to dry some things on out. It'll be mainly dry this afternoon, don't get me wrong. But it's going to be hard to dry it out when you only have, 3 or 4 hours to do that. It's going to be hard to do. But nonetheless, we get into it tomorrow, it's going to be much better. Watch this. There's 10 a.m. Most of the rain's long gone. By the afternoon, it looks pretty good, mid-60s. You won't see full-blown sunshine, but maybe a couple of peaks here and there. And then we head toward tomorrow. Tomorrow's your time to reschedule all those events. Tomorrow's your time to do the grass, weed eat, lawn, mow the grass. That's the time to do it because now we're talking about temperatures there near 70 degrees, sunny skies. It'll have plenty of time to dry some things out tomorrow. That's the time to do it because guess what happens on Friday? Here we go again. More showers, more thunderstorms. Yeah, I hear in the background rain. That's exactly right. It's an easy guess around here this time of year. And then we get in towards your Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, most of the morning hours look pretty wet. Afternoon doesn't look too bad, but I would say if you're doing Bike Lexington here in Lexington on Saturday morning, just know here comes some more showers there in the morning hours, and then it moves out in toward the afternoon and evening hours. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday looks dry.
Okay.
That's good to hear. And I got to get my coffee. I left it over
far
here.
Away. Yeah, you better pull that back.
Gotta get that.
We need that.
Careful with that.
Hey, you weren't supposed to tell people. Goodness, Bill.
I love that.
You are a troublemaker.
6:47 is our time this morning on WKYT.
Yeah, if you've ever wondered what it's like trying to clean a house with a toddler around, here you go. It's not easy.
Yeah, a toddler panda watches this poor zookeeper wages a losing battle against two mischievous panda cubs bent on keeping her from cleaning up some leaves. The pair turn an otherwise mundane chore into an all-out pandemonium situation. The pair even seem to work in tandem. One distracts, the other attacks, and it was sort of a grisly scene.
The poor lady.
But the worker fought the good fight and barely won.
Look, and she acts like they are just kids. She just picks them up, moves them around, tells them to stop.
It's interesting that they just had a good
Look
time.
at her.
With it. Yeah. All right.
If I were her, I would just leave. I would just give up. Let it go.
Leave them in their mess, right? Yeah. Okay. 6:48 now on WKYT on your Wednesday morning. Here on WKYT, more news coming up.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Coming up, Nora interviews Ivanka Trump about her father's history with women. Plus, the GMO labeling debate. Our Dr. David Agus breaks down a new report on the safety of genetically engineered crops. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Welcome back. It's now 6:51 on WKYT this morning, about 9 minutes away from CBS This Morning at the top of the hour. Bernie Sanders is vowing to stay in the race after winning one of the two states in yesterday's primaries.
Sanders won in Oregon and was narrowly defeated here in Kentucky. Hillary Clinton emerged the winner late last night, getting less than 2,000 votes more than her Democratic presidential challenger. But it was enough to put her within reach of the nomination. Hannah Daniels has the latest on campaign 2016.
If last night is any indication, Bernie Sanders isn't backing down. The Vermont senator pulled off a narrow victory in Oregon Tuesday and had a message for those calling for him to give up his campaign for president.
We are in to the last ballot is cast.
In Kentucky, Hillary Clinton appears to be the likely winner, making a general election matchup against Donald Trump even more certain. The presumptive GOP nominee easily won Oregon's uncontested Republican primary last night. In a one-on-one interview with Fox News host Megyn Kelly, he defended the tone of his campaign.
Actually, if I were soft, if I were, presidential, okay, I don't think I would have been successful.
The presidential candidates now turn their attention to the remaining nominating contests, including the biggest prize, California. Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Now, Hillary Clinton is off the campaign trail today while Bernie Sanders continues his push in California with two campaign events.
Well, some shocking surveillance footage shows a man choking a 76-year-old woman and dragging her down the aisle of her mom-and-pop shop in Hawaii. All of this happens while a man ransacks the register and another stands as a lookout. All three left, leaving the unconscious woman bleeding on the floor. She was found by a customer later in the day and taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Disturbing video to see. A woman who lives in the area says the shop has been robbed before.
Breaks my heart to see somebody do that to an elderly person, choking her into a sleep hold and putting her down to the ground. No respect.
The neighbor says some of the suspects look familiar to her. She is planning to help bring them to justice.
Hopefully they do. That's terrible to see. Now, there's a Burger King in Finland that's not just the home of the Whopper, but also the place for a sauna. This recently opened Burger King in Helsinki features an in-store spa complete with sauna, shower room, and lounge. Customers can sit in the sauna in nothing but Burger King branded towels and watch TV, play video games, and relax. There are even servers to take your BK order. Sound weird? It does, but not in Finland, where it's estimated that there's one sauna for every 3 people in the country. Walking around isn't always a breeze. 100-mile-an-hour gust literally blew one man over in New Hampshire on Monday. The Mount Washington Observatory shared a video of the weather researcher struggling to stand. At one point, the researcher jumps and gets blown sideways in the wind. It's been a windy few days in the Northeast with wind chills below 0 in some areas. Can you imagine Micah doing this, Bill?
I absolutely can.
Yes, you can, right?
Hopefully wear some sunglasses to protect you. But other than that, I can absolutely see Micah.
One day, I got to get video, right?
6:55 our time on WKYT. And right now on WKYT.com, we have complete election results after Hillary Clinton narrowly won the Kentucky Democratic presidential primary. On our website now, you will find an interactive map. It shows where the candidates won and lost. Bernie Sanders with big wins out in eastern Kentucky, mostly there in coal country, while Clinton did well in much of southern Kentucky and in Louisville and Lexington in the urban areas. We have Officer Don's video of that fire that destroyed a Lexington home and damaged 4 others. Our news team also looking into the factors this morning, including how those homes are built so closely together in that area. We're working to get some more details and the name of the man man killed late last night in McCreary County. The pedestrian was hit along US 27 in the Stearns area around 11 o'clock last night. Over on Kentucky.com, more details about the Kentucky primary, including what turned out to be a 17% voter turnout. Most Kentuckians simply don't vote these days. We've been seeing that in recent elections. President Obama indicating he will veto a bill proposed by Congressman Hal Rogers to fight the Zika virus. The president says the bill doesn't go nearly far enough. And CBS This Morning is coming up with your eye-opener and a look at where the presidential contest goes from here. Also, we'll have local updates. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter or Instagram, and for the latest anytime, WKYT.com.
You know, the rain's out there right now, but you will start to see that fade as we head throughout the next few hours. I'd say most of us see the rain fade before noontime. Southeastern zones, I'd say noon to about 2 p.m. is probably your best bet to see that fade, and that goes into your afternoon at 68 degrees, guys. 68, mainly dry. Looks pretty good. We'll take it.
Yeah, thumbs up on that, right?
Yeah, we got a happy emoji for tomorrow.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah, keep smiling, right? Nobody is more up to date than you to start your day. Thank you for being with us on WKYT.
CBS This Morning is next. Have a great one.